David Haynes, editor of the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel opinion page, came to talk with Lake Bluff 6th graders.
What year do you think I started?
1950.
1950. So as an opinion writer, we have to do everything a reporter does. We have to do one more thing. We have to have a point of view. So I dug up a different editorial that I'll pass around, and that would represent the point of view of the whole newspaper. So it's not just my opinion, because you sit down and you have to discuss it and then come to an agreement. And sometimes people have to give a little bit, and you have to negotiate. Here's what takes the longest. It's when I'm not sure what I think.
Is it like rare that you would like win a argument with someone?
If we write an editorial, do we persuade people to agree with us? Is that sort of what you mean? Yeah. Sometimes not. And I think one good lesson for you guys, for your generation, is maybe it's good to keep talking with people you disagree with. Because even if I can't persuade them, is to get them to think about the issue and think about the argument and then come to their own conclusion.
Mr. Haynes shared professional advice about how to write a strong opinion piece.
So you've got your lead, first paragraph, the lead. That's really important because if they don't get past the lead, they don't read the rest of the piece. Somewhere in the first couple of paragraphs, you have to tell them why this is important. We call that, you might call that a thesis statement, maybe, if you're writing a composition. It's sort of your thought about why this matters. We call it a nut graph. Yes?
Because you're kind of like giving the whole thing kind of in a nutshell.
Exactly. It's the nut of the argument. It's like a hook to pull you through the piece. Save something for the end that's really interesting for your reader. Give them a reward for sticking with you for 600 words. That reward can be, a point of fact that you saved for the end that was really important. Or it could be a great quote from somebody you talked to. We call that a kicker.
How you said they give it back to you to work on it.
Yeah.
How many times did they give it back to you, on one editorial?
And I might rewrite it 8 or 10 times.
Whoa.
And that means and it's not like I start from scratch, but it means I'm going through it, and now I'm reading it a second time, and I make some changes. And then I read it a third time, I make some changes. I read it a fourth time.
Oh, what's the most important part of an editorial?
I think it's that nut graph that I talked about. It's that why you should care. Why should I care about this coyote problem? Why does it matter? And write that in a single sentence.
I think it was very important to have Mr. Haynes come over because it taught me so much more about writing an editorial.
It's good to hear from an expert because you think you know everything and you think the internet provides everything, but you haven't seen anything until you hear from an expert.
He gave us a lot of information, a good, solid information because he's obviously a journalist, but he gave us a lot of good, detailed information on how to write an editorial.
It kind of sets an example for the article, and it just totally changed my opinion on how I can write an article.